Hello everybody, I am the Helpful Witch, and today we are talking about everything we know currently about the professors in Hogwarts Legacy. So before we jump in, please subscribe if you want to hear more theories coming your way. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and also please comment down below what you think about all of the theories as well as the theories of your own, because I've definitely been enjoying reading and replying to all of your comments about your theories across the past couple of videos. So let's jump straight in. Okay, let's start with an oldie but goldie, I guess. Professor Bean will teach us history of magic. He's actually a teacher that already appears in the Harry Potter book franchise. He is actually a ghost, as we see in the reveal trailer. Basically, he died while he was teaching history of magic, which is notoriously quite a boring subject, and he never really realized that he died, so he just kept on teaching, and thus he still teaches to this day. Then we have a couple of classes that we don't really know much of currently. So the first one is broom riding. So we know that we have a teacher for that, and we've seen her with some blue robes. So assumingly she's probably going to be a Ravenclaw. I doubt that this is going to be a very important lessons, because I actually think, considering what they said in the FAQs, that they're going to teach us Broomflight, but there is not going to be a Quidditch, so I don't think we'll actually do much in this lesson. Then another teacher that we don't know much about but we have seen in the reveal trailer is Herbology. This is a teacher that some people, especially at the beginning, speculated was going to be a Weasley. I still think, I guess there is the possibility, considering she has red hair, but we don't necessarily know. It would actually be nice to have a change from Herbology being specifically subject preferred from Hufflepuff. So it'd be interesting to actually see somebody else teaching it. So maybe even a Gryffindor, that I think would be a bit less cliche. And also I think that will kind of go well with the fact that we have a lot of very useful plans during combats. So maybe actually this is a brave Gryffindor teacher who teaches us about how to defend ourselves with plants. I think that would be an interesting take. What do you think? Then we have Charms, which is actually being taught by a confirmed Slytherin, Professor Ronen. So he is being confirmed in the Avalanche presentation as a Slytherin, and also his name has been confirmed there. I think this would be one of the key classes because, of course, we haven't necessarily done magic before, so I think we're going to be learning a lot about charms, kind of like Harry did in first years, and so I think he will be one of the key professors that teaches us. I'm not entirely sure more, what is going to be like in general, but I think he's actually going to be a very good teacher. He seems very peppy, very happy, so I think he will kind of be a nice change. In the books and in the films, we've seen Snape as a very aggressive teacher or passive aggressive teacher towards Harry, and I think it would be a nice change to actually have a very good Slytherin professor who is encouraging us and wants us to do best. I think he will probably fit the bill. Next we have a defense against the dark arts. I think this is going to be another Ravenclaw given by her robes, but I think this is also going to be another very key professors, especially because all of the base of the gameplay is going to be about us learning new magic and becoming more powerful, so I think she will definitely be very helpful. I definitely think she will also, we've seen a little bit about dueling clubs in the tips and tricks, as well as in the gameplay reveal trailer. She magics basically a table from nothing, and she has a couple of students fighting, so I think she will definitely have maybe a dueling club where we can learn how to defend ourselves against the dark arts in class. I guess a little bit more like Lupin did in the books, where it was an actual hands-on lesson, I guess. I think she's going to be another very instrumental teacher. I think her subject is going to be very useful for us, regardless of whether you're choosing to be a dark witch or wizard or not, because I think that will actually have quite our basic set of spells that we will use in combats. Of course, we'll be able to learn more dark ones and also more powerful ones with the ancient magic, but I still think her basic ones will probably be very, very handy regardless of what playstyle you choose to do. Now we have Potions. So Potion has been kind of ish confirmed as Professor Sharp, and again in the tips and tricks we've seen that he supposedly is an ex-Auror. I think he could be a Gryffindor. I definitely thought when the first time we saw him, he was probably gonna be Slytherin, and I mean there is definitely a possibility of him being Slytherin still, but I think actually they will have a good case for making him a Gryffindor. I think it could kind of be an untold story of Harry and Ron, you know, they become Auror. We know this from the lore, and I think maybe he is an ex-Auror that did a lot of very, very cool stuff in his youth, but now he's becoming a little bit more of a little bit angry professor because, you know, he probably got injured, which is why he has a limp. He's probably not able to do as much as he used to do, and therefore he has this dark history that maybe we will discover. I think that would be very, very interesting, but I think he has something more that we don't know yet, and I think he's a little bit annoyed about his past or something that happened that led him to actually not be an Auror anymore, and I don't think he's loving being a teacher, but I think, you know, probably can't do the job he loves, and therefore he is there. This is at least my theories. I would like to hear what you think below. I definitely think it could be interesting, again, as I said, him being a Gryffindor actually, so we shall see in February when the game releases, I guess. Then we have the subject that I think I'm the most excited for, which is divination. The professor is actually going to be Natsai's mother, so she's going to be teaching us divination, and she transferred from Africa to teach us. I think also this is going to be an interesting professor because she's not going to have a Hogwarts house, because of course she didn't come to Hogwarts when she was a student, therefore she wasn't sorted by the sorting hat, and so she's not going to have kind of loyalties against any students. So I definitely think it's going to be a very interesting character to see her loyalty lays, if, you know, we heard more about the houses or faction or section that they have in Africa and which other possibilities are out there outside of Hogwarts. I think this would be very, very interesting. I also think this is going to be a very interesting subject because we know that Merlin has a lot of power against the divination subject. I think he's been depicted with tarot cards and crystal balls a lot. I think we can see some of those motifs on the Hogwarts Legacy website as well as in the collector's edition box, and we are kind of speculating that he is Merlin. We're not entirely sure yet, but I definitely think it is, and I think this is going to be a very interesting subject because maybe that will help us use even possibly, I guess, the pensieve in a more creative way, because maybe we can use tarot to see what's going to happen, or like a crystal ball to see the futures, or maybe that would be kind of the saving mechanics, as in we can load up by looking in a crystal ball and seeing the different saves. I don't know. I think there is a lot of creativity they can take on with this subject. But yeah, I think I'm definitely most excited about this. They've done a lot of teasers about it as well, so I think it's definitely going to play a big part. We're not entirely sure, of course, what this part is going to be like, but I think there is a lot of different roads they can take with divination. I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see whether we can predict the futures. If, for example, we can see, if we go around like the dark path, you know, what's going to happen, or maybe even, for example, when we have, you know, battles, be able to intuitively know what spells are going to be best for us to use or learn. I think there is, again, a lot of different creative ways that they can explore this subject, and I definitely think it would be interesting to see what they do. But I'm definitely also interested to know what you guys think, so please let me know in the comments below if you think divination is going to be as big of a subject as I think, or if you actually think divination is not going to be that big. I think it's definitely interesting because, again, in the books it was kind of this not that much truthful subject, but actually we then know that, of course, Professor Trelawney had a lot of very good insight because she actually did predict correct and made that prediction in Order of the Phoenix. So I think there is, again, a lot of things that they could do with this subject. I'll shut up about it now, but I'm very, very excited for divination, I have to be honest. Now, before we go into two very interesting professors, in my opinion, I would like to mention very quickly that we don't necessarily know much about astrology and transfiguration. I know there was, I believe in 2018, a leaked video talking about transfiguration. I think there was also something about transfiguration in the first trailer where we see a mannequin kind of being transformed into a mirror, but at the same time we haven't seen the professors. We're not entirely sure if it's still being kept, as you know, many years have passed, and also I'm not entirely sure how much usually we would do transfiguration use spells in our everyday life in Hogwarts Legacy, I definitely think, we can do the lessons, and I think all of the other lessons have somehow a way to actually be impactful in our gameplay, but I'm not entirely sure about Transfiguration, other than maybe a very few couple of spells, but I really don't know. So it would be interesting to hear if you guys think that actually Transfiguration would be a very key subject. I know it's supposed to be a very difficult subject to learn, but I'm really not sure how much we will use Transfiguration in our everyday life, exploring the castle and exploring the grounds. So I don't think that would be, at least for me, as much of an issue if that subject wasn't there. But again, I'll be interested to know if somebody else disagrees, because it's always good to hear different point of views. Another subject we haven't heard too much about is care of magical creatures. I mean, for sure we're gonna have some sort of care of magical creatures, considering we are caring for magical creatures in our room of requirement, but we know that there is actually a name. I think it's Professor Jags. We're not entirely sure again who this is going to be. Some people have speculated that could be the person we see with Sebastian, but again, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's possible, considering why would his father be, I mean, this could be his father, although they have, I guess, different names, different surnames. But at the same time, why would he be so involved and so close to the Hogwarts ground when he doesn't have anything to do with Hogwarts? So who knows, maybe they are right, I'm not entirely sure, but again, we don't know too much about the actual professor. So almost to the end, we have Professor Figs. Definitely he's gonna be playing a very big part, as we've seen in the trailers. He's probably gonna come and pick us up and bring us back to Hogwarts. He's being speculated to be the ancient rune professors, which would make sense again, because if we're going around trying to find Merlin, we will definitely be needing somebody who knows a lot about ancient runes, especially at the beginning as we navigate the world. But I'm not entirely sure actually if he is going to be that good to us in the end. I actually found very interesting that in one of the trailers they say Figs that is an accomplished yet enigmatic professor, so I definitely think they're trying to hint something. I know some people have drawn parallels from Figs to Albus Dumbledore, which definitely makes sense considering they're kind of being our leader figure, at least as a professor, and bringing us outside of Hogwarts in field trips. So again, it makes sense on that sense, but I actually think he will probably be a bad guy in the end, or at least that is my speculation. They do say that he's an enigmatic professor, which is a weird thing to say for one of the professors at Hogwarts. I'm not entirely sure why we would think that professor is enigmatic unless they would have something hidden, which would then make me think that they're probably hiding something not for the best. So I think he's probably going to actually betray us. I think he's probably working in a way against everybody. We see him attack Ranrock, and I doubt that he will attack Ranrock even like if they were actually working on the side without us knowing. It wouldn't make sense for him to attack him. Ranrock would just be able to not show up, and that would be the end of it. I think he's probably working still against Ranrock, but he's trying to get the ancient magic for himself. So I think he's trying to gain our trust and get us to unlock the ancient magic for him and not for Ranrock. I think quite a few people have gone back and forth thinking about Professor Figs as being somebody who's gonna betray us, and then actually not, and then maybe. So I've still stay with the fact that I think he's gonna betray us at some point. I think it would be a bit weird to have somebody again, yes, like Dumbledore, but I don't think that would make sense just to repeat that story. I think we've done it, so we should probably do a little bit different. So I think we would they're gonna make us believe that it's gonna be like Dumbledore, like helping us, but then actually he's gonna betray at last minute. Then we have, I guess, a professor that I haven't really mentioned, which is Weasley. So we've seen her giving us this book, which I believe is called the Field Guide, and this basically is gonna help us navigate through Hogwarts because we're 5th year. I'm not entirely sure what she will teach. I'm guessing, as everybody else has been guessing, is probably gonna be Muggle studies. But again, I do wonder what's gonna happen in terms of these subjects like Muggle studies. How useful is it going to be for us in everyday life? Do we have to take it, or is it just that we just don't take it and that's it? It would be a bit weird to make her a professor of a subject that we don't end up taking, in my opinion. I'm not entirely sure whether that's gonna be the case. It would definitely fit the bill with the things we know about the Weasleys, that would be the professor of Muggle studies. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's gonna definitely be interesting. She definitely seems to be another kind of the mother figure to Figs in terms of she brings us into the room of requirement, gives us this book, so she's definitely looking like a character that's gonna help us and be this kind of, you know, mother figure for us in terms of guiding us through our first week at least at Hogwarts. And lastly, we have Professor Black. So he's gonna be the headmaster. We know a little bit about him because he's from the Black family, which has been, of course, talked about quite a lot during the books. But I am actually interested to know whether he's gonna play a bigger role. Again, he's a bit weird in terms of he's playing, you know, the headmaster, which is a very big role, but we haven't seen anything about him apart from him standing next to us as we get sorted. And he doesn't seem to have the most, you know, happy face. We know that he doesn't last long as a headmaster and people really didn't like him as a headmaster, so I think maybe he will have a darker side. We know that the Blacks have got quite darker sides to them, so it would make sense and it wouldn't be super surprising. I definitely think he is a good candidate for the person we don't know yet about their identity, the person that is hiding behind the skull mask in a couple of the bits during the trailers. And I say this actually because he is one of the only few characters that has a beard. And this character, when we see him do a backflip being hit from a spell, we actually can see that he has a beard. The kind of stature, you know, the physique again seems to be very similar. And again, with the fact that there aren't many bearded characters, I think that would make sense. One of the other bearded character is actually the guy that is being speculated to be the Care of Magical Creature professor, which is also speculated to be Sebastian's father, but he has quite a bigger build and it doesn't fully go with the skull mask figure. So yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see what's gonna be happening with Professor Black. I definitely think he's gonna be playing a bigger role because he's one of the characters that at least we know of from the books, so I think people will be expecting to see something from him. Also, he's gonna be the headmaster, so he's definitely gonna be playing a big role in that. So yeah, this is all we know about classes and teachers. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. I wonder if we're going to know a bit more about what we're going to do. I definitely think that would be a good way to tease, you know, more about the game without going into the story. Tell us about who's teaching which class. Maybe they could do another tips and tricks about the professors. So a list of the professors and what they teach, and a couple of lines about what they're going to be teaching us and what we're going to learn and how we're going to use it in the word. But again, that should hopefully keep the story, you know, still a secret for us to explore in February. But this way we'll actually know a bit more about the game and what is going to be waiting for us, you know, in our everyday Hogwarts life. Again, thank you so much for joining me for another video, and please let me know down in the comments below, you know, what you think about all of these theories. Who is your favorite professor as well, and what is the subject that you're most looking forward to? As I said, I'm definitely looking forward to Divination. I think it's going to be a very cool subject. I wonder what we're going to do, if we're going to read tea leaves in cups, or if we're going to be reading tarot cards or looking through crystal balls. I definitely think there is a lot of options and I can't wait to get started. So again, please let me know your favorite in the comments below. Subscribe and like the video if you have enjoyed it, as well as share the video with somebody that has a strong opinion about classes so that they can comment their opinion down below. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye!